The Cannabis Show is for information only. Nothing contained in the show is intended to constitute professional advice for medical diagnosis or treatment. We do not claim this information to be complete or exhaustive or to be applicable to any particular individual's medical condition. You should always consult with a qualified and licensed physician or other medical care provider.
Hi, and welcome to the Cannabis Show. Today we're going to be speaking with the Tommy Chong, actor, activist, comedian. We'll have a little heart-to-heart and a strain versus strain as well with these two. Stick around. Hi, and welcome to Terp Talk. I'm Chris, and with me I have Bud Genius, Basil, and really we just want to get to the very basics of what is a terpene.
Yeah, so terpenes are just one of the many organic molecules that we find in our cannabis plant, as well as throughout the plant world.
Now you said one of many. How many are there?
Terpenes alone, and this is an all-encompassing name for a lot of different compounds like terpenoids and flavonoids and things like that. But we'll simplify it with terpenes, and there are hundreds of these in the plant world. We like to focus mainly on more like 12 or so in our cannabis world.
Okay, speaking of those 12s, what is it? Do they do the effect of for patients?
Mm-hmm. So they're the major factor of the flavors and scents that our cannabis gives us. And they're also responsible for a lot of the effects that our cannabis plants give us.
So if a patient's going through for depression or something like that, there's maybe a certain terpene that can really help them out with that kind of thing.
That's right, yeah, something like linalool is an antidepressant.
A what now?
A linalool, it's the terpene that gives lavender its distinct flavor and scent.
So not only does it do the flavor and scent, but it can really help with depression and such.
That's right, and we've been using them as people for thousands of years.
So really, when for a patient, they go to talk to the doctor, they speak to their Bud Genius, they should really get to know their terpenes.
You know, it's a good idea. It's not going to make or break your using your cannabis for medicine, but it is a great way to try and find and seek out strains that may work best for you.
We're going to be talking about lots of these terpenes on different shows and upcoming shows, so stay tuned for more Terp Talk.
Boo. I didn't really want to scare you there, but I really feel it's important that I have your attention about something. You know, the show is called the Cannabis Show, and that's what the plant we usually talk about is called. It's called cannabis. It's not called pot or weed or dope or bud or cabbage or chiba or the devil's lettuce or grass or chronic or Mary Jane or nugs or sticky icky or wacky tobacco. Let's call it what it really is. It's called cannabis, and it's not called marijuana either. Way back when, in 1937, there was a guy named Harry Anslinger, and he was the head of a department that was called the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. And he wasn't really satisfied with the fact that it was just opium and cocaine that were being outlawed. He felt he needed to push harder, and he coined the term, well, he didn't really coin it, but the term marijuana came about, and it almost demonized what cannabis really is. It was associated with, murderous people and people who were committing really heinous crimes. And that's really where the whole reefer madness thing came from. And up until the 19th century, they were calling it cannabis in the pharmacopoeia. They were using it medicinally there, and it was always called cannabis for industrial purposes or medicinal purposes. But then this guy got a hold of it, and he wanted to demonize it. We can get into the reasons why in another show, but basically what I really want to talk about is let's call it what it is. It's called cannabis. So stop the madness, call it cannabis. Thank you.
And welcome to Strain versus Strain. In episode 6, Basil made his case for Jack Herrera versus Hart's Jean-Guy, and lets you decide the winner. We have tallied the votes, and the winner is Jack Herrera with 67% of the votes. Congratulations, Basil. Now, before we get to this round of Strain versus Strain, let's pick a winning YouTube comment who will take home a Rain vaporizer. All right, here, Basil, you pick the winner.
I just want to point out that 67% is like a C+ at best. Okay? So don't be so happy.
You're losing a lot of things right now. Okay, let's see who our winner is. And we got Laura Waters. Laura Waters, congratulations. You have your one yourself.
Laura.
a rain vaporizer. Now into this round of strain versus strain. Today, the reigning champion Basil will be making his case for Eran Almog, and Hart will make his case for Granddaddy Purps. Basil, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Hart, are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever.
Okay, this time we'll start with the loser, the runner-up. Hart, you get to go first. 3, 2, 1, and go!
All right, well, Granddaddy Purps, I mean, there's a reason why it's called Granddaddy. It's because it's a super, super heavy-hitting indica. It's big and bold, and it's going to be amazing medicine in terms of stress relief. It's great for pain relief. It's going to help you sleep at night. Body melt, that's what I'm talking about. This one is going to keep you locked down. There's really no better indica out there. I mean, I don't know if you can say anything.
Okay, time's up. Basil, are you ready?
I'm ready, let's do it.
3, 2, 1, and go!
All right, Eran Almog, brought to you by the great people at Tikkun Olam in Israel. They are the first, the foremost, and the biggest medical grower out there. They've been doing it a lot longer than all of us. So it's gonna melt stress. It's a great pain reliever. It's a great anti-inflammatory. And the smell, I mean, the smell alone should win this contest. When you crack that thing open, it's like something that you've never smelled before. Like we don't get those strains around here like that. It's just, it's something different. Like, Eran Almog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Basil in Israel. Who knew? Who do you think won this round? Have your say in the YouTube comments below. We'll choose a random comment who will take home an NHS gift bag. The winner will be announced in an upcoming Strain versus Strain.
Don't forget about our Wednesday night Q&As. Just go to the events section of www.naturalhealthservices.ca Wednesday evenings at 6:30 p.m. and spend an hour or so with us live online as we answer any questions you may have. You just type them in.
Recently, we were up in Edmonton for Hempfest, where we got to speak with the legendary Tommy Chong. Check it out. And we are up here in Edmonton for the Hempfest Expo. And how cool is this? Joining us on the Cannabis Show is the legendary Tommy Chong. Tommy, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Now, thank you for joining us here at Natural Health Services up here at the Expo and such. Now, I want you to elaborate. Medicinal cannabis, how far has it come in your lifetime?
It's weird. It was made illegal the year I was born.
Yeah.
And I'm 70, I'll be 79. And now it's legal.
Now it's almost gone like reverse. Like, do you know what it was like before you were born? Like, did you ever get stories of like, oh yeah, it wasn't a big deal back then, or?
No, not really. But I had cannabis has always been around.
Yeah.
Even back then, it was used as a medicine.
And like for yourself, many of us, growing up, we were doing it recreational and such. When did you start to realize that cannabis was a lot more than just a recreational type of thing to do?
Right from the beginning.
You just knew right away that this is more than...
Right from the beginning. Well, because, like I was into bodybuilding before I got into smoking. And so I wasn't really doing much alcohol that much, A little bit, but not much. I was health conscious.
Yeah.
And then when I was afraid to smoke pot at first, but a guy gave me a Lenny Bruce record and a joint in Calgary.
Yeah,
it was in Calgary.
Cool.
And so I put the joint in my pocket. We lit up one of his joints, and I had a friend getting me high, so I wasn't worried about it. But I didn't smoke that much. And then that joint he gave me lasted about 2 months, almost 2 months.
Yeah.
Because I was just take a few tokes, and so I knew right from the beginning that
what they were telling us was silly in a way.
Well, there was no they.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no one really knew what pot was in Calgary.
Oh, okay.
And so you could smoke it on the street if you got it.
Yeah.
The problem was that one joint, that was it.
Yeah.
There was no dealer to go to, no store where I could go buy more. That was it. You had to ration it. And so pot was an unknown in Calgary and Edmonton.
So for health benefits, you just kind of knew right away that this stuff was
I knew it was good for you. Because it made me feel, it made me hungry, made me laugh, made me laugh on uncontrollably.
Yeah, and
and
you can
that's what I love more than anything.
and go to sleep and wake up in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah, you like a good laugh.
Yes, I
We
do.
know that for sure. You've been fighting cancer yourself. Like I know you defeated cancer the first time. Now, what kind of cancer was that the first time
The
around?
first time, I didn't really defeat it. You
No.
never defeat it.
Okay.
But what I did, I held it in check. It was prostate cancer.
Yeah.
And because I was old as I am, the doctor said, hey, don't mess with it, and you'll probably die of something else. But I went on the Dancing with the Stars program.
Yeah.
And I worked myself up a little bit too much physically,
Okay.
and I ended up getting rectal cancer.
Okay. Now, the first time around, I guess the prostate. Now, you did use cannabis, correct?
Yes.
Now,
Oh.
what did you use, and how did you use
Well,
it?
with the prostate, I really didn't know how to use it, So
Yeah.
I was just doing oil, the Rick Simpson oil,
Okay, yeah.
Stuff. I did that.
Okay.
And then, so then I asked a doctor, how to treat prostate cancer.
Yeah.
And he told me rectal, with the suppositories.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I treated it with suppositories. I had a lot of fun with them.
Yeah.
Because I'd do interviews, and they'd ask me the same
Yeah, well,
question.
yeah.
And then.
But people want to know, right?
I was on
You know?
Access Hollywood, and Billy Bush,
Okay.
famous Billy Bush. He says, so how do you actually treat the prostate cancer with suppositories?
Yeah.
I said, well, what you do, you get a nice warm room. Turn the lights down a
Put a
little
candle
bit.
on.
Light a candle, put on some jazz. Yeah. Wash your hands really good.
Well, it's getting hot in here, Tommy.
And then you get some coconut oil.
Yeah,
And then you apply the
But that's what you did,
Make
though.
it a joy.
Yeah.
Make it fun.
Yeah.
And but I quit laughing when I ended up getting rectal cancer because
Yeah.
that's just where I was treating it. And so it was like, but I asked around and they said no, there was no correlation. It was just a separate
Yeah.
incident.
Okay.
But now when I got rectal cancer, that was serious. And so now I treated that. And when I treated the rectal cancer, I treated the prostate at the same time.
Right.
In other words, I had radiation.
So you
And
are
I
doing
had-
the radiation.
I had radiation, I had chemo, and then I had the operation.
Yeah.
And then I got a new butthole.
Yeah.
Out
Wow.
of the
Yeah,
thing.
no, that's-
They
so-
moved it. Actually, it
Yeah.
was a rearrangement. They moved the butthole from the back to the front.
Jeez. Are you still using cannabis though to keep comfortable and such for that, or?
Oh, I never stopped.
Yeah.
I never stopped using. I use the oil. I smoke it. I eat gummy bears, and usually too many.
Yeah, that's legal in the States. That's not up here yet. I don't think
Yeah.
edibles are illegal in Canada. When it comes to cannabis and hemp products, and it's getting more and more popular now, especially on the medicinal side of things. How far do you think this can go? Like, you got sessions in the
Well-
States saying, "Oh, we're going to not put all this. We're not going to legalize it."
I've
but-
always said that cannabis is going to save the world.
Yeah.
I still believe it.
Yeah.
More so now than ever. Because it's not just cannabis, it's the hemp products that you get out of the plant.
Okay.
We still haven't come up with a better paper.
No.
This hemp paper is still the best quality paper in a time when you don't need paper.
Yeah.
But it's also, hemp products can be a good building
They're good for everything, really.
building block.
Yeah.
And it's good, made rope, it makes canvas, it makes clothes, and it's food. The plant
Yeah.
itself is food. And so I predicted that cannabis is going to save the world. I still do.
Yeah.
Hold by it.
When it comes to strain and what you like to use for cannabis, what's your favorite strain?
Anything given to me by anybody.
Yeah. Oh, if you're on stage and someone throws one out there, you'll take it back to the hotel.
It's just
or-
like, you know how they talk about bad weed?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
bad. You know what bad weed is? No weed. That's bad weed.
or mixed with tobacco.
That's
gross.
bad weed. Now, if you got no weed
Yeah.
and someone comes along with some weed, that's good weed.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So,
So-
you don't have like a go-to strain that you're like, oh, I got to have this one tonight, or
I
anything like
usually
that.
do what everybody does. I smoke it and then I say, what was that? Or what is that? I don't
Yeah.
go,
Oh, okay.
I'm going to smoke some Kush or some OG or
That's neat that you say that though, because I found that I know people obviously that do use medicinal cannabis, and there is certain kinds that they use during the day and then certain kinds at night. But for Tommy Chong, it's like no, whatever's given to me kind of.
whatever's by my side, whatever someone hands me, usually.
Now,
that's what
Tommy,
it is.
you're an activist, Shelby's husband. You're an actor, obviously a comedian. You've done, you know, lots of success.
Father of Ray Don Chong, and father of Jill Brown Chong, father of Paris Chong.
Yes, who we met here.
And father of Robbie Chong, all actors, all
And
successful.
Paris, he's your manager, is that correct? Or
He's my
not?
manager.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's my
man.
handler more
A
than
good-looking
anything.
guy like you too. Yeah, nice guy. and
Well, he's
stuff.
very talented. I'm so lucky that he's available.
So home life is good for you.
Oh,
Yeah. And where is home exactly?
So
You-
good.
I mean, you were born in Edmonton. You had some years in Calgary,
I'm
but
trying to forget about that part. No, I was born in Edmonton,
okay.
and then I moved to Calgary, lived in Calgary for 20 years, off and on, and then got deported to Vancouver.
Oh,
Literally.
yeah, no, that's
We got
right.
kicked out of Calgary,
Calgary.
And we had to go to Vancouver for the winter of 58.
When did you decide to go down to the States anyway?
When we were in Vancouver,
Yeah.
it's our drive to the States, to
Yeah.
Seattle. So we would flip down to Seattle every chance we got. And go to the black clubs, you know, go to the ghetto and listen to the real good music.
Yeah, the real good. And you were in a band yourself, which
and the
is really
jazz
cool.
and smoke some really good ganja down there.
Down in America.
At the time, though, there was pills, a lot of pills going around,
Yeah.
a lot of speed.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
that's what
that's
we
a
do.
Lemmy thing from
We were
Motorhead.
speed down there and speed back.
Now, your last movie you're in, Zootopia, won an Oscar.
Yes.
Your character, once again, you're naked. I'm surprised you're not naked right now, actually, for this interview.
I would be, except for my new bag.
Did you enjoy doing Zootopia?
Oh, so much fun.
Yeah.
I came right out of the hospital.
Oh,
to do
really?
that.
Oh, okay. And right
I
into like a studio where you were voicing for
Literally
him.
came from my son,
Yeah.
kind of helped me wobble out of the hospital, into a car, into the studio,
Unreal.
and then I did the voice.
Oh, that was. We watched the movie last week and it was splendid. Well, congrats that the movie got an Oscar. You know, and of course for your other movies, the Cheech and Chong Phenomena. Also, your character as what was his name in that 70s
Leo.
show? Leo. Yes. Now, was Tommy Chong and Leo? Do you think of them as the same type of character?
They really wrote that part for
Yeah.
me. They didn't have a part written. They just said, "We want you to be in the show."
Yeah.
And then once
That
I
was
got in the
fantastic.
show, if you watch the show, I had very little dialogue.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm getting at. Like, you know, and we're gonna get a little philosophical now. But with Tommy Chong, the character, Leo and such, do you ever think like those characters, I mean, of course, you know, they're very funny, you know, you gotta be smart to write that comedy for them and such, like you did with the Tommy Chong character. But do you ever think it kind of maybe helped the other side of things, the people that were like anti-cannabis going,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That
Because,
was
like-
my intent, really.
oh, that was your intent.
My intent was to show, you know, the rough side of
Yeah.
the teenagers, you know, more or less, you know, the young kids, and the outcasts.
Right,
You know,
yeah,
the hippies at the time, or the Mexicans, or the black guys, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I purposely made a point of making sure Cheech and I were in the best physical shape we could be in.
Yeah.
For that reason. I wanted to show dope smokers healthy and vibrant
yeah.
and full of life and playing music and, you know, loving chicks and having you know what I mean? Like really not a escape, you know, the drugs that, you know,
Right.
because, you know, I broke up with my girl and so I'm going to just sit
Yeah,
in
it
the
was
room
just like
and get
any- yeah.
high. You know what I mean? Nothing negative. Cheech and Chong and my character Leo, all that, always positive and
Yeah.
always with a sense of intelligence that sort of, you know, rose above all the other negative aspects
Did you
of the
ever,
character.
you know, and with the stigma of cannabis then, you know, do you think that there's still like that stereotype, that cliche with it?
It's
like
not stigma, it's more ignorance.
ignorance? Okay, like, yeah, great.
It's pure ignorance because anybody that has half a brain knows that cannabis is not what the racists would like you to
Yeah,
believe it is,
yeah.
you know.
Ignorance is
You're
more-
not going to have weird-looking babies, you know.
Yeah.
You're not going to get hooked on heroin.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
in fact, the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I quit smoking because of cannabis.
Yeah.
I used to smoke cigarettes, and then I realized that if every time I felt like a cigarette, I'd light up a joint.
Yeah.
And next thing I
You
know,
still got the habit down, but not ingesting all
next
that
thing
poison.
I know, I don't have a cigarette habit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a marijuana habit, but I can go without marijuana anytime I want.
You can ask us anything. We got our bud geniuses here, Basil and Hart. I'm Chris, and we're gonna ask a question that you sent in, and these guys are gonna answer it. Our first question today is from Lou, and he goes on to say, I just got my prescription, and I've never used cannabis before. My bud genius told me to start low and go slow, but I'm still a little nervous. Do you have any advice for a new user?
Yeah, for sure, Lou. That's a really, first of all, excellent advice from the bud genius. Start low, go slow. What that means is hopefully you're using a vaporizer. If you're using dry bud, what we're gonna get you to do, put a little bit of cannabis into the bowl and heat that thing up and really just maybe even take one pull, put it down, wait a good, like even 10 minutes. See if you're feeling any effects. If you're not, go back to it. And that's sort of what we mean by low and slow. The other way we would talk about low and slow would be with edibles, right?
Through the ingestible oils. So going low and slow when you're talking about your ingestible oils means starting off with a very, very small dose. We often talk about a tenth of a milliliter, so 0.1 milliliters, and titrating yourself up from there.
And then one thing I'd like to add is maybe when it comes to the vaping, the actual boiling point, you know, just to get the full effect.
Where to start? Probably around, what, like mid 300s, would you say?
Yeah, that's gonna get you to a good average boiling point of most terpenes, and you're gonna start to be able to boil them off more efficiently as you raise your heat.
Excellent, guys. Thank you very much. If you got a question for You Can Ask Us Anything, you can send your question in. You can email us, or you can tweet it at NatHealthServe.